from American history. So the first is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he is someone you have probably heard about before, but we're going to read this little comic, and then there's a video that you can watch as well to learn more about him. So the comic says, I'm Martin Luther King Jr., and I was the first American citizen in the 20th century to have a federal holiday designated in my name. And that's why we celebrate MLK Day. I was a civil rights leader and helped end legal segregation of African American citizens. So he was the one who gave those great speeches and led marches and things to help people realize that the separation and being unkind to each other was not okay. In 1955, I organized a major civil rights protest called the Montgomery Bus Boycott. If you remember learning about Rosa Parks and how she refused to give up her seat on the bus, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. also helped with that protest and helped people to stop riding the buses so that they could gain attention for making sure that people were being treated fairly. At age 35, because I fought for equality using peaceful means, I became the youngest man to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Vote for me. So this is a little comic about MLK and some of the big things that he did in his life. We're also going to talk about Thurgood Marshall and the big things that he did in his life. Now, this man is not as well known, so maybe you haven't heard of him. Maybe this will be some new information. So I'm going to read you this comic just like I did the MLK one, and then there's another video that's about Thurgood that you can watch to learn more about him. It says, I'm Thurgood Marshall, and I was our nation's first African-American Supreme Court Justice. So he was a big fancy judge, and he was the first African-American person to have that job. I was also a leader in the civil rights movement and fought for new protections for women, children, prisoners, and the homeless. So he also led things for civil rights, right, for treating people fairly and equally. And his big goal, he worked to get women, children, prisoners, and homeless people to be treated fairly. I later became the chief counsel for the National Association for Advancement of Colored People and argued many civil rights cases before the Supreme Court. In 1954, I argued and won a major case before the U.S. Supreme Court that led to ending racial segregation in public schools. So you might have talked about this case before as well. And Thurgood Marshall was the judge that was over that case, where they made it to where kids could go to school with other kids that looked different from them. As a U.S. Supreme Court justice, I heard many cases. I always favored human and civil rights. Vote for me. So this is Thurgood Marshall, and that was MLK, and they both have done some really big important things in their life. So you can go watch the other 2 videos to learn more about them before you do your Seesaw assignment. Have a great day.